We arrived on Skye in the afternoon of June the 1st and parked at Sligachen on the A87. We walked 14 miles through the glen between the red and the black Cuillins, two mountain ranges that look remarkably different to one another despite their geographical proximity. The walk was a long, hard slog, but the scenery was breathtaking. The black Cuillins in the west casting long shadows in the dusk, and the red Cuillins earning their name as they caught the last rays of the sunlight. We made camp on the shores of Loch Coruisk, which should be our home for the next couple of days.
And welcome to day two. Day one, we basically drove all the way up from, well, Ben drove up from Oxfordshire, landed at our house in Sandbach at 6:45 in the morning. We left our house at 7 o'clock. We arrived on the Isle of Skye, at our final parking place on the Isle of Skye at around about 5 o'clock. Left the car at 5:25 and walked in across the Cuillins, or between the two red and black Cuillins, and over the top of the sort of backer one to get to Loch Coruisk, which is where we camped last night, and this is what you can see in the background here. It's now 9:15 on Saturday morning, the 2nd of June. I'm drinking Loch water. Which is the same water in which we have washed up, cooked with, everything else. As you can see, there's a few midges around, but luckily Faye gave us some Skin So Soft last night, so or yesterday morning before we left, and so I'm not being bothered by them, which is good. The weather is absolutely fantastic, the scenery is even better, and if I shut the hell up for a minute, you will hear something. Absolute silence. Not a bit of traffic noise, nothing. It's absolutely phenomenal here. You would love it.
Have a clear water from the stream. I had to dig a little rivulet out to fit the bottle in, so it filled from the fast flow water. So now we have all provisions. The plan is to follow the lead of the mountains up there. Hit somewhere up there, have a play on the ridge, admire the view, have some cheese.
Just because you've got a frog on your boot doesn't mean that you're suddenly god of the mountain.
In all the old peoples, they always depicted their gods with frogs on their feet.
Yeah, you say that now. It has the mark of something that you might possibly have just made up.
There we go.
So we've climbed quite a long way. But we are still quite a long way to go. Mainly sort of scree and all that kind of stuff. In fact, if you come with me, I'll show you what we just climbed up. All the way down, 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 down. Our dining room for lunch. Have you met Ben, who's part mountain goat? His advice for getting up that bit: look for the flat bits. It's fucking vertical. I cannot ever remember having felt so physically challenged in all my life. And he's walking across it like it's a bloody pavement. So, getting up here pretty much pushed me to the very limits of my physical endurance, which are reached more easily than I would like, shall we say. It's become abundantly clear that I lack a certain level of physical grace, balance, stamina, many other things which would come in really quite handy when trying to climb up a 1 in 3 gradient slope, which is entirely covered in shale and goes on for several miles. It's been challenging to say the least. We also chose to adopt a somewhat circuitous route, partly because, you know, you get to see really interesting and unusual things when you adopt a circuitous route, but mainly because we didn't know where the hell we were going. Having said that, the view, now that we're up here, is utterly breathtaking. It's a real reward when you get to kind of top the edge of the ridge and what's laid out across the water. Some of the Hebrides, we think it might be egg and rum. We've got a sort of glen down there, if you can see it. The ridge itself goes on and drops off there with yet more shale slopes down there. Don't really fancy those. As it is, we've got to go back down the shale slope that we just came up. So yeah, it's absolutely stunning. It's just breathtaking, and one of the really wonderful moments, and one which I just didn't have the camera ready for because I was busy scrambling at the time, was I glanced up, and circling above me was what could only have been a golden eagle. I've never seen anything else with that kind of wingspan. That was a good moment. And it's very sunny. So yeah, it's very nice. I'm glad I put suntan cream on. See, I'm being a good boy. Sensible. The sun is very dangerous, kids. Be careful of it. Absolutely phenomenal. So those are the red colours. Yes, I can see that's where we were yesterday. Awesome. And this is, what's it called? The impassable pinnacle? The impossible pinnacle? The
Inaccessible.
The inaccessible, that would have been my next guess. Okay, it's Sunday morning, Sunday the 3rd of June, and it's about 10 to 11. We've been walking from our campsite, which is about 3 miles from here. We set out fairly late in the day. We set out at around about 10 o'clock. So we've covered about 3 miles at a gentle pace, carrying full packs. We made it to the point at which the loch, which is fresh water obviously, that comes straight in off the mountains, actually meets the sea, and so we've got what is one of the shortest rivers in the UK, which, as you can see here, actually descends directly into the ocean. And so you have there salt water and seaweed and all the things that you would expect around the shore of the ocean, and back here, fresh water. This bit here is all fresh. You could drink from that, and indeed we have been doing. It's one of the most obvious bits of geography, and you know, it's probably one of the things you learn in geography GCSE lesson 1, you know, the life cycle of a cloud. But here it is writ large, almost exactly like one of those little diagrams that you used to have to draw in school. You know, up there, cloud. Over there, mountains. Then you've got water coming off the mountain, lands in the loch, and bang, into the sea, where it evaporates because of that thing up there, which is the sun. And lo and behold, you've got more clouds again. Hooray! There you go. You don't have to go to school now. Of Scotland. Okay, we've just climbed down from there and we're now on our Ersatz Caribbean beach, which is nothing short of stunning. This one's for you, Faye. You rest there on that seaweed. Henry Pet Man,
Hey man!
welcome to the Hairy Bakers.
One pair of lassie's knickers, nicely stewed, and a couple of crabs.
Kawasaki.
Hey, sorted.
What you gotta do is you gotta take your fresh ingredients. Now your fresh ingredients is this. It's dried vegetable risotto. You put it in your trangia with your hot water. Now, oh, that's looking beautiful. Fantastic. Right, I don't know what accent I'm doing, but it's pretty good. Quite remarkable. You can see why people compare them to teeth and things like that.
Yeah,
It's just...
yeah. Those ones there, you see that? You got one big spike, biggest spike with a little one to the right.
Yes.
And then you got the dark triangle. Those stick. I think that's called the tuff. God knows what.
Yeah. And that up there, that pinnacle up there, that sort of... yesterday. That pokey up bit is the very thing that we were standing next to. Quite a bizarre thought, isn't it? Yes. Well, I must have hitched a lift with that eagle.
Yeah.